Ghana's challenges in food production will not be solved by the inclusion of GMO in our agenda. At this stage, the case is before a competent court of jurisdiction. It would have been ethical for the National Biosafety Authority as an industry regulator to wait for the outcome of the court's findings, especially given the peculiar and personal importance of food to all beings. FSG and our allies are concerned about the quantum, quality, and lack of risk assessment and risk management of the BT cowpea by the relevant stakeholders before such approvals are endorsed as safe for our health and the environment. Thousands of Ghanaian farmers who grow the organic version of the soya bean will be rendered jobless if this proposed release of the GM soya bean goes ahead. The socio-economic implications for the welfare of these farmers, their households, and their local communities will be incalculable. Once GM soya is grown in Ghana, this will alienate the buyers of the original convention soya who see Ghana as one of the few last international marketplaces where you can still buy non-GM soya. What and whose long-term interest will such an intervention serve? As civil society organizations working in the national interest of all, we are concerned about the risks and unintended consequences of bioengineering. Regardless of what side you are on, we must be humble enough to accept the truth about the dangers of GMOs. The international scientific community and their keen awareness of the clear and potential dangers with the unintended outcomes of bioengineering led them to formulate the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. What conditions have been given? What considerations have been made to the different biogeographic regions, their climate, biodiversity, wildlife species, and regional varieties in Ghana? It is imperative that extremely thorough environmental risk assessments are applied and exhausted in line with the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, to which Ghana is a signatory.
All our farmers demand is infrastructural support to fully sustain we Ghanaians, their fellow Ghanaians, and keep us all healthy. Examples have been mentioned here this morning: roads to markets, warehousing, processing options to add value. Us also, by extension, are being offered only genetic manipulation, lobbied for by European companies that are even selling things that are banned in their own mother countries. We stand in total support and solidarity with Food Sovereignty Ghana in their action against the Ghana Biosafety Authority. We will not stand silent as those people mortgage our land, knowing they may give their own family cancers, but who the political elite expect or have been promised will receive treatment with their 30 pieces of silver. We in Ghana can be fully sustainable. We have land in abundance and none of the scarcity disturbing Europe and their own food sovereignty.
Our farmers have maize they want to sell, they don't have markets. But we are ignoring all these signs and they are telling you that the conventional ones that we are planting, that we are having surplus, is not enough unless they bring GMOs to the country. So that should tell you that the agenda to bring GMO is not an issue of productivity. It is an interest that they want to fulfill, and we will not stand and want them to fulfill that interest. So we stand in solidarity with the food sovereignty and all other stakeholders.
The Cartagena Protocol states, and I quote, "The precautionary principle or precautionary approach to risk management states that if an action or policy has a suspected risk of causing harm to the public or to the environment, in the absence of scientific consensus, that action or policy is not harmful, the burden of proof that is not harmful falls on those taking an action." End of quote. Hence, in the absence of any epistemological studies specifically on the BT cowpea and GM rice, we question the validity of the process followed, which resulted in the MBA's approval of these new 14 varieties. We invite all responsible and sound-minded Ghanaians to join us to officially register our alarm and displeasure with the announced intention of Ghana's key regulators to release 14 GM varieties into our food. We call on all of you in the media to teach your families, your neighbors and friends about the potential hazards of consuming foods that contain GM inputs. We encourage you to reject this disturbing violation of our right to eat nutritious food by making a conscious effort to ask your food supplier if the cowpeas, maize or soya beans you wish to purchase contain GMO. Therefore, as a coalition, To defend the rights of Ghanaians, we clearly demand the following. We demand that the National Biosafety Authority, NBA, puts an immediate stop to this planned release of 14 GM crops until a nationwide engagement campaign is carried out that lays matters out clearly for Ghanaians to understand what is at stake and thereby accept or reject the commercial release of GMOs. 2. We demand an immediate response and assurance from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, MOFA, that the inputs to be supplied under the ongoing Planting for Food and Jobs 2 shall not include GM varieties. To this end, the association is calling on all members to reject any GMO seeds that will be supplied by any company, any individual, or any government. Number 3, we demand that the National Biosafety Authority immediately releases to the public the process and procedures for granting these approvals, including the evidence of engagement of Ghanaians accepting on a national basis of their plans to introduce GMO into their daily diet. 4. The Ministry of Agriculture, as well as related relevant ministries like the Environment and Science, should immediately implement sustainable strategies to tackle the challenges posed to our agriculture by low irrigation facilities, low credit to farmers, poor transport networks, and no warehousing. Number 5, the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, must immediately assure the general public how it will ensure the mandatory labeling of any GM crops found in Ghanaian markets. This is in order to protect us to make informed decisions about what we consume.